Namaskar. Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host Sree. Iyer. Joining me today is General Ravi Shankar as we discuss the three-way tango between India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. What are the different factors that are affecting this relationship? Now, if Pakistan is also trying to get in to India through Bangladesh, what sort of challenges will they put up? And everything around this. So let's welcome General Ravi Shankar. General Ravi Shankar, namaskar and welcome to P Guru's channel. How are you, sir?
Namaskar, thanks a lot. Nice to be back on our regular Friday show and discussing a very interesting three-way tango between, Pakistan and India and Afghanistan. Like you rightly said, our repost or answer to what Pakistan is trying to do with Bangladesh is through Afghanistan. On the other way of looking at it is Pakistan is trying to repay us with Bangladesh because we've paid them through Afghanistan. The thing is, which is the stronger state? It doesn't need any great guesses, but I think there's more to stake than just the Bangladesh kind of a story, and we need to focus on it in a much deeper sense, and that's why I had a choice. I had a choice that I could discuss with you without anything or put together a formal presentation, because I've been discussing Afghanistan and impact and everything in Gunner shot also. But I thought, let me put across a formal thing because things have come to a head. You won't mind if I go through the presentation, then we can discuss.
No problem at all, sir. Please go ahead.
Because that will put everything in picture. Look, like as seen here, India-Af-Pak, it takes three to tango and put Pakistan in a squeeze, right? That's the first thing. Second, the Af-Pak relationship, Pakistan has sought strategic depth in Afghanistan, but what it has got is strategic anguish. Why do I say strategic anguish? Look at this. This is what ISI has put out today against Taliban. It says Modi's army. So Taliban has become Modi's army today. That's the strategic anguish which is being shown. And in your own time, if you blow this picture up, you will see these Taliban ministers with a bindi on their head. So that's the thing. But let me put this, we have to view this from a macro perspective. There are always two Pakistans. One is the Pakistan of the army, or the Pakistan army, which is the center of power. And then the state, which is the center of governance. Wars have destroyed the state, but wars have strengthened the armed forces. How do you break that? How do that's the point. The center of power has never been destroyed. Okay. And the next thing is the center of power, army, elite, the politicians, they're all rich. The rest of the state is poor. It doesn't matter who lives, who dies out there, whether they are polio affected or not, they're not bothered. All this rich Pakistan is, and the army-oriented Pakistan is to retain power and become richer and control, play strategic games. And that's the dangerous army. And that also is given as a two-faceted thing. One is that part which is conventional, doing a lot of exercises with China, getting a lot of maritime equipment from China, including submarines and all that. And then which is waging a battle of survival virtually with Afghanistan. We have to take a call, what do we want to do? And where is this whole relationship going, so that we know how to deal with Pakistan through Afghanistan. Okay, first let's look at Taliban. We all know it seeks legitimacy because it doesn't have it so far, right? And it needs assistance to survive, because who are its opponents? It is IS-K, Khorasan, AQ, Al-Qaeda, and the Northern Resistance, Amrullah Saleh and company. So it needs outside support. But it does not want to be a Pakistan's puppet. That's very clear now after 3.5 years. It needs support. It needs a counterweight so that it can counter China and Iran, who want to get into Afghanistan. If they get into Afghanistan, Taliban can pack up and go. It needs to develop better relationship with the Central Asian Republic. The thing is, it doesn't have the capacity to get popular support. It doesn't. I mean, really speaking, Taliban doesn't have too much support within Afghanistan. It is running the whole country by brute force. We know that. They know women's rights and all that. We know that. It's a repressive government. Taliban has one line, strategy, that is export terror, blackmail through exported terror. But what it has, and it has now started cashing, it has started realizing after 3.5 years, is there's a traditional Afghan friendship with India. And at the end of the day, the bulk of Taliban are also Afghans. In fact, they're all Afghans, depending on which tribe you're looking at. So they want to now rebuild India and invite India in for their own purposes. And they want to, look, the way I look at it, India is their main card now against all the forces which are destabilizing them. And they're playing it smart, right? Not that Taliban will get destabilized overnight, but they're playing it smart. That's something which we have to go. Now let's go to go a bit into the history. 80s to 21. We all remember, Pakistan backed the Mujahideen, destabilized the Soviet presence there, destabilized Najibullah's government and hung him, all that. It was the primary backer of the Taliban 1.0 when it was there, Osama bin Laden, Mullah Omar and all that. And during the Taliban 2.0 time, Taliban was given shelter in Pakistan. And Pakistan played a double game against the US. We all know that. That's a gory history. Taliban, as far as Taliban-India relations are concerned, no, Taliban and Haqqanis, at the behest of ISI and Pakistan, from Pakistan soil, repeatedly attacked us. The Indian embassy was attacked in 2008-9. I lost my good friend, Brigadier Ravi Mehta. In fact, he and I were childhood friends. He was lost in a bomb attack just outside the consulate. I'm in touch with his wife and children still. It was pretty traumatic for me. But then they have attacked our consulates in Jalalabad, Herat, and Mazar-e-Sharif. But these equations today are gone. They don't stand anymore. What's the current set of equations? We'll come to that. What does Dawn say? Dawn came out with this. It says 2024 was the deadliest year for Pakistani security forces. From where? From Taliban. Let's see what it was all about. Right? They exchanged strikes on each other's territories. Pak security forces have been hit badly by TTP. Very badly. Right? I'll come to the numbers. And Pakistan in retaliation says it's targeted Afghan bases of TTP, and the TTP is being harbored by Afghan Taliban. Hence and they carried out 2 air attacks into Afghan territory. So all this is a to and fro, but Pakistan has suffered more. Look at the rise of fatalities in Pakistan. In Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, the districts which have been maximum affected are Kurram, North Waziristan, and Khyber. And today, Kurram and Parachinar is at the center of ethnic clashes, sectarian clashes, not ethnic, sectarian, Shia Sunni. So Pakistan is in a complete squeeze. Look at the terrorist incidents. In 2021, there were just 572. 572 is not less. One every day, more about 1.5 every day. Now in 24, it's gone to 2173. That's about 5 to 6 every day. That's not simple. It's a 279.8% increase. What about casualties? There were 238 in 2021. Today, in 2024, there were 788. 231% increase. On an average, 2 to 3 people have been dying every day. And this is not in Afghanistan. This is in Pakistan. And most of them are security forces or people in uniform, government officials. And all. Now, interestingly, the Baluchis also have upped the ante to Pakistan. Now, the fatalities in Baluchistan for the 2024 are equal to their what was recorded from 21 to 23. 21, 22, 23, 21 plus 22 plus 23 equals 24, which is hell of a lot. But it's not fun. And Pakistan is caught. That's why I said squeeze on Pakistan. Now, what's the Pakistani view in all this? Now, Pakistan feels landlocked Afghanistan depends on Pakistan for everything. All routes, trade routes go through Pakistan. So Pakistan has no choice. They feel geography, does not change. Indian relations can change, but geography doesn't change, and they can control the, screws on Pakistan. But they've already closed the borders, Torkam border, and all that, and they've fenced the border wherever required. But that has not stopped anything. But there's an elemental reality which Fez, who's now in jail, the guy who was the ISI head, who went to Serena Hotel, drank a cup of tea, and said, "Sab kuch theek ho jayega," and all that nonsense. That cap says, not many people agree with me, but I do believe that TTP and the Afghan Taliban are two faces of the same coin. So the Pakistanis know what they're up against. So why has this come about? It's simply because there's a traditional rivalry between Pakistan and Afghanistan. And that goes back to time from the time Durand Line was drawn. Afghans don't consider the Durand Line as the official border between Afghanistan and Pakistan. Pakistan feels that's a settled border, right? And a lot of people astride the border don't consider it as a border. It's unenforced. Plus the fact that Pakistan has neglected this area. And Pakistan has done all the wrong
Generally, it's
moves.
not fenced, right? It's not fenced, right? On the Durand Line.
No,
It is not
there
fenced.
are some places it's fenced. Crossings and all, it has been fenced. Some places Pakistan has fenced them. Known crossings they have fenced, right? But then Afghans being Afghans, they'll come through other routes. And especially the TTP people, they'll cross it wherever they have to. It's not a absolute, impenetrable fence. So they're playing to form Afghan Taliban and TTP. Like Faiz says, they're two sides of the same coin. There's not much difference. Okay, now what's happening after all this? After the Pak Army chief went to Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and he says, as per him, they are in a situation. He says the TTP and the cross-border attacks are the only 2 points of problems with Afghanistan. Nothing else. We are okay. We are okay with Afghan Taliban, but TTP is the problem. But by their own admission, TTP and Afghan Taliban are inseparable. How does Pakistan resolve all this? They can't. Okay, recently these chaps, that's in the center in that photograph, you see Asim Munir. He's flanked by the CM of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Amin Gandapur. Now, Gandapur is playing both sides. In fact, he's playing every side except the Pakistani side. Ali Amin Gandapur is of PTI. Sometimes he appears in Pakistan, sometimes there. He sings a different tune there, he sings a different tune there. But his allegiance to the Pakistan state and the army is doubtful. But Asim Munir can do very little with that fellow because that fellow he's elected chief minister. He can't be put behind bars. Once in a while, for all those Pakistan, PTI, not riots, those marches to Islamabad, he's made funny appearances. He's been he's been under detention and all that. But when he goes to Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, he has to deal with the chief minister. Right. What does he say there? After saying all that nonsense, we have no problem. Asim Munir says the Afghan Taliban is out of control, and so is TTP. There's no control. But at the same time, he also says the enemy may try to sow discord and fear, but we will not relent. Who's the enemy here? India. We have to understand. He's gone there and said enemy is India. Hostile elements will be dealt with an iron hand. So let us see what iron hand this fellow uses against India. Because if he uses an iron hand, he'll get an iron bamboo. And you know where that bamboo goes? I leave it to your imagination. They will continue to suffer heavy losses and their capacity to inflict harm will be decimated. So he's made all these big noises, right? He can do very little. That's the fact is they can do very little. They're caught. Now we'll see why. There are internal factors in Pakistan which we have to consider. Everyone says, okay, there should be a military, operations in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and they should be cleared and all that. But the Pakistanis lack public and political support in that area. If we think we lack public and political support in Kashmir, this is even worse. Right? There's no appetite for another round of displacement. What is this displacement? You see, unlike what we do, when Pakistan carries out operations in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, they do it with a heavy hand. They displace all the civilians from that area. They tell all the civilians, get out of this area. So there's a lot of internal displacement in the villages in that belt. And people are put to hardship. The Pakistan army doesn't care a damn about it. We don't do that. They do it. It's mass displacement. When mass displacement happens, all these people are taken to security camps or refugee camps and displacement camps, and they have to be fed and all that. Now, for that means you're losing the hearts and minds of people, and they have to be fed. Pakistan can't feed itself. How will they feed these displaced people? So there are issues. So they can't do that. If they can't do that, Pakistan army can't carry out operations. So Pakistan has imposed trade restrictions on Afghanistan. Now Afghanistan is seeking a way out. We'll talk of that. Worst, what has happened is Pakistan last year expelled 5 lakh undocumented Afghans who were staying in Pakistan, in Karachi and all that. And some of those chaps have never seen Afghanistan. They're born and brought up in Pakistan. They were all thrown out. And more, they're being thrown out. And their visa policies and all. So there's a general hatred towards Pakistan which has developed in Afghanistan. And that is something which is important. See, when you disturb people like this, both sides of the border, you will not get goodwill. So you'll get only ill will. That is what Pakistan is reaping. Now, in any insurgency, there are 3 phases. There's a latent and incipient phase, where, all these people build support, recruit members, establish networks and all that. Then there's a guerrilla warfare phase, where it is a small scale hit and run attacks, weaken government forces and all that. And then the third phase is it turns into a conventional military action to confront the government. Now, any insurgency has political goals and public sentiment. And terrorism and insurgency have an overlap. As per Pakistanis, the Baluch Liberation Army is in the second phase. They are in the guerrilla warfare phase. They feel that the TTP is in the first phase, but it is more of a terrorist organization than an insurgent organization with large political goals. But that's their perception, and they're dealing with it accordingly. Why this is important is, how is Pakistan dealing with these problems? Let's see that. Let's look at the Baluch insurgent groups. The Baluch insurgent groups now have an operational strategy which has evolved. It's no more, crude kind of an attack. They, from low intensity, small attacks, they have now got into sophisticated, high-profile operations, coordinated operations, hitting in depth, using technology, and are well equipped. Okay. Now you look at the TTP. Oh, TTP, first and foremost, it draws support from Afghan Taliban. And it has got into classic guerrilla warfare tactics, light-footed. It avoids conventional battles. And TTP significantly does not attack civilians. And TTP is now enunciating for the past 3 years very clear political aims. So the Pakistanis are handling it as a terrorist organization when there's an insurgency on. That is why I brought that earlier slide. My view is both BLA and TTP are in the second phase of guerrilla warfare. It's any day now they will get into a clear political aim. Will that happen? We'll have to see. When that happens, Pakistan is in real trouble. And the thing about TTP is it is anarchist in nature. So it will not be easy to think. And what's worse, Pakistan, in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa area, there is something called the Pashtun Tahaffuz movement. They are a peaceful movement. Pakistan has banned them. The day PTM and TTP get together, you will have a separate state and Pakistan will be broken. And that might be a big break. So will that happen? At this point of time, it doesn't seem to happen, but who knows what happens in future. I've not got a slide on PTM, but it's there. That's Manzoor Pashtir and gang. They're largely part communist in nature, leftist, but they're peaceful. That peaceful force and this TTP get together and they have a broader relationship with BLA, Pakistan is in for the high jump. Okay. Now, what does Pakistan lack in all this? I've been talking, but let's see it formally. First and foremost, in that part of the area, it is not perceived as being legitimate. The Pakistan state must restore its image. To restore its image, it needs population support, which is not there. It doesn't need it has to have a very clear idea as to how it should carry out a counter-insurgency operation and strategy, which it doesn't have. It needs accurate and timely intelligence. Obviously, it doesn't have. For all what we talk of ISI and AQ, EAO, all that, it doesn't have intelligence. Otherwise, they won't be on the back foot. Right? And securing this population from the insurgents or the terrorists is vital, which they are not able to do. Now, why are they not able to do? Because Pakistan has discriminated the Pashtuns and the Baluchis historically. There are a whole lot of missing persons. That missing persons have never surfaced. And this is not a new problem. This is the problem for 75 years. That has only increased. This Punjabi army will not be able to end this discrimination because anyway, Punjabis discriminate against the rest of Punjab anyway, rest of the Pakistan anyway. So this is special. The next point is Pakistan doesn't have money. It does not have capacity. And China is breathing down its neck because we know there have been attacks on Pakistani workers in the Dasu Dam area. In that Karachi, there was an attack. People died. Gwadar, people died. So Pakistan and China is very fed up of Pakistan. So Pakistan is under a lot of stress. What is the Indian approach? So we now see, we know Pakistan is in a, up the creek without a paddle in Afghanistan. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, that whole belt. And that belt will not, come back to normal in a hurry. Now in this, what is our approach? Our approach is humanitarian. It's not security approach because we don't have a security role there. We don't have troops there. We are not giving them arms, nothing. We just have security. And ours is a people-to-people approach to help the Afghans with whom we have traditional friendship. And we want to counter this China-Pak nexus in Afghanistan. Let's have no doubt about it. We need to regain our influence. We need to provide Taliban with alternate options. We need access to Central Asia. These are our requirements. This is our tango which we have to play. When you say 3 to tango, this is my tango. We need to improve relations with Iran. We have regional aspirations, notwithstanding what USA talks of Iran. USA and Iran can be khatti, but we are not khatti with Iran. But we also have to realize that Taliban is the best. It's the best of the bad options, or it's the chosen bad option amongst the worst options available at this point of time. So we don't have a choice but to deal with Taliban, and we are dealing with them. Okay, how have we dealt with them? We've started this really around November last year, when this joint secretary of us He led this delegation on 4th, 5th November, and he went and met this gentleman who was the defense minister of Afghanistan, Mullah Muhammad Yaqub. He also met President Hamid Karzai. He also met their foreign minister Amir Khan Muttaqi. And he met all heads of UN agencies in Kabul which are operating. So we made a base there. That's the first stage. We have not yet thought of opening the embassy there. Let me make it very clear. But we made a base. Then what else happened? He discussed the use of Chabahar port in Iran for trade and humanitarian assistance. So earlier I said Pakistan wants to close the border between Afghanistan and Pakistan, so that all trade routes are blocked. We've given them an out from the other side. I'll come to the maps also a little later. Then last week, about 10 days back, our Foreign Secretary, Mr. Vikram Misri, he went and met Muttaqi in Dubai. Okay, so that is why that picture which came up, in the beginning. So let's put what all we have done in the past 4-5 years in perspective. We have given them more than $3 billion in assistance to Afghanistan, and that's over the last 2 decades. Now Taliban has come to realize that value of that. That is why they are coming. What all did we give them? We gave them Salal Dam. That Salal Dam is very important for them because it helped them out in their worst times for water. Then the parliament. No, the parliament in any country is the symbol of government. The Taliban are using this parliament more. Everyone thought, initially the Pakistanis thought the Taliban will break this parliament and all that. No. They are functioning from this parliament which India built, and that's their sign of legitimacy. I mean, at the end of the day, everything is political in nature. Then we built roads for them. I'll come to that. And so many other things, hospitals, everything. We've given them 50,000 metric tons of wheat, 300 tons of medicine, 27 tons of earthquake relief aid, 40,000 liters of pesticide. Otherwise, how will they grow their wheat? We have given them 100 million polio doses, 1.5 million doses of COVID vaccine, 11,000 hygiene kits for drug de-addiction, winter clothing, everything we have given them. And now that is coming to fruition. And all this we've given them, the second part, after the Taliban have come. So that there's no starvation in Afghanistan. So we want India, like I said earlier, we are in the humanitarian mode. We have got that kind of a thing. And it will pay results. I have no doubt about it. And what all these people spoke is how to improve the health sector in Afghanistan, rehabilitation of refugees. Cricket has been a major leverage India has. I mean, you'll be surprised. Might not be surprised. You would know the Afghan team is based in Noida. It plays, its home cities are Noida, Lucknow, and one more. I think Gwalior or someplace. So if Afghanistan has to have a home test match, it has to be in Noida. It is not in Afghanistan. But everyone follows Afghan team. And the biggest cheers in Afghanistan are when Afghanistan defeats Pakistan. Okay. Yeah, I'm not joking. You'll see, if you see their results during the World Cup, Pakistan has had a tough time with Afghanistan. Even during the last World Cup in USA, Afghanistan beat Pakistan. Right? And see, these things are might be symbolic, but it's very important. And then, of course, we are giving them a lot of humanitarian assistance and Chabahar port. I'll come to the Chabahar port, which is important. Okay, this is Chabahar port. Okay. Now, there's a 10-year agreement between India and Iran to develop the Chabahar port. And we are operating it. India is operating it. Okay. Now, this is the, Google map of the Chabahar port. It's pretty big. Now, Deputy PM Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar, he visited Chabahar port in November. After our JS went to you Afghanistan, spoke of it, they came and visited. Now, why he visited? Because they want stronger political and economic ties with us. They want visas, more visas for Afghan businessmen to travel to India. And we also developed a technical team to Afghanistan in 22. And we've been involved in humanitarian work. It's a technical team, fine, but it's also kind of a consul. And there's one person whom we educated who got a PhD from the South Asian University in Delhi, Ikramuddin Kamil, right? And he is now the consul, Afghan consul in Bombay. So you see how things have moved. So we have a person who was educated by us, gave him a PhD, and he would have earned a PhD, who's now their consul in Bombay. So we have opened this channel. Why Bombay? We'll come to that. Look at this map. It starts from Bombay. From Bombay, the route goes to Chabahar, which is the port. From Chabahar, it goes to Zaranj. Zaranj, there's a railway line being developed. Most of it is complete, but there is movement by road also. Very soon, so transshipment will be from ship to train, which means volumes will increase. Not ship to ship to road, the volumes won't be high. Till Zaranj, there'll be a railway line which will go. From Zaranj to Delaram, there's a place called Delaram. It's about 200 odd kilometers. We've already built the road. When was this road built? This road was built before 21. The border roads built this. In fact, a good friend of mine went and built it. His name is Major General NRK Babu. He went and built it. And he had a deal with the Taliban. And Taliban ensured that this road got built. So Taliban knows which side of their bread is buttered very clearly. Why is this road important? From Delaram to Kabul, there's an existing route. So virtually, once this thing comes, this route will come up. Yeah, it's already there. It has to be exploited more. So the moment that starts happening, they will start neglecting Pakistan even more. And this is beyond the reach of Pakistan. So that is why good relations with Iran are important. And we have to impress it upon the Americans also. Look, as far as this is concerned, don't interfere, because this serves your purpose also. If Indian presence is there more in Kabul, right, it counters Chinese presence, it counters all other presence. And then from Delaram through Herat, you can go to the Central Asian republics. There's an existing road, you improve it as with time. So the opportunities for India are huge in this. I mean, we can keep talking of everything else. Okay, what China is doing to Pakistan, USA and all that nonsense, and we can keep fighting. But we should carve out our own region of influence. And this way we sandwich Pakistan. Right? There's another angle. Chabahar is in Iran, Sistan, Baluchistan. It is next to Pakistan's Baluchistan. You see, Pakistan and Iran have a common border. It's this behind this map. Look at it. If you look at it, this place, this is called Sistan, Baluchistan. This is Baluchistan. People, both sides are Baluchis. The Baluch Liberation Army and extremists go and hide here. Their people come here. If you remember, some time back, there was an exchange of fire between Iran and Pakistan also. So there's bad blood there also. So if your road comes here and starts functioning, your goods starts going here, Pakistan gets threatened in Balochistan also. So you start influencing things. So you outflanked Pakistan. And that is why that, right? So here comes my last slide, and then we'll discuss. See, like I said, how do you, if you want to sort out this rich army, which has been strengthening, you can't defeat this army conventionally, because if you defeat Pakistan, the army comes back stronger. It's like a Frankenstein. They say no, one drop of blood and more augurs come out. That's something what Pakistan is. The only way to defeat this Pakistan army is through the Taliban. Will the Taliban completely defeat them? No, they might not. Will they keep them completely tied up? Yes, they will. And that is the thing which we have seen for the past 3 years. Will it continue further? It will continue further. Should we do anything about it? We should do a lot about it. We should just help the Taliban. Just help the Taliban survive, or whoever comes in power to survive. They will sort out Pakistan automatically. We don't have to do much. All you have to do is feed it. You don't have to put in troops. You don't have to put anything. You'll get intelligence. Also, when you support this Taliban, you ensure that they don't send their fighters, and they keep check on TTP to send terrorists into JNK. If you've seen, that has stopped completely. And Taliban and TTP both have now said we are not interested in sending anyone to Kashmir. So, many things you don't have to do directly. You don't have to go and fight with Pakistan like a fool directly. We can take this off. We can take the slide off. Yeah. So many times you don't have to do things directly. It was Sir Littlehart who had then said the strategy of indirect approach. Why go directly and head on, bash your head against the wall when you can do things from the side and do it with a lancet? Why do you want to wield an axe when you can do a lancet? And what does it cost? Wheat. That wheat is anyway rotting in FCI godowns. It's good someone needs it, not rats. We can give them health. We can give them COVID vaccines or any vaccines. It's completely up to us. And the thing about Afghanistan is, barring that period, the Afghans have been generally faithful to us. I have a lot of friends in the erstwhile Afghan army who are all now, many of them are in Delhi. In fact, the Afghans trained with us in India. I had 2 Afghan friends who were my cadets, who along with me in India, when I'm talking of 73, 74. And unfortunately, one of them was hung along with Najibullah. Najibullah was hung on one lamppost, and this chap had become a major general. When I was a major, he became a major general and a big shot in the Afghan army. He sided with the Soviets, and this Taliban only hung him. But that's a different story. That's a different era. 50 years have passed. So that's how it is. So, how do you squeeze Pakistan? Like this. As simple as that. Is it being squeezed? Yes. I mean, do you have to go and hit them and this and that? Oh, that's stupid. Why should my army go and why should our people die? There are better ways to sort it out. There are better ways to sort out China also. Why do you think China is behaving? You have to understand what game we are playing. So when I say, look, no, we can do a lot of things. This is it. You think we can't do against Bangladesh? We'll do that. Don't worry. All that big talk against Bangladesh and all, wo chawal band kar do, sab ho jayega theek. Oh, but to say in Bangladesh, Bengali, baat band kar do. उनके बाद चावल होता ना तो बंद कर दो सब अपने आप ठीक हो जाएगा. So that's how it is. Shree, your views? Yeah, anything?
One thing that kind of piques my mind is the United States is providing close to $85 to $100 million a month to Afghanistan. That's $1 billion a year.
Yeah.
Then it's also just approved. World Bank has approved $20 billion. So to Pakistan. And you know that it's US which has created the Bangladesh challenge now. So what exactly is US hoping to gain from all these things? I mean, you can keep India under the pump for some time, but I don't think it's, yeah.
I mean, let me put it clear. It's not against India. Part of the deal is against India, but the major thing is US has a very clear thing that it needs to protect its own territory. Their Osama bin Laden experience and all that. And they know exactly what they did and what the assets there are, what they're capable of. They don't want Afghanistan to be the base from which a terrorist attack is launched on USA. They don't want tomorrow someone from the someone walking out of the Pak nuclear establishment to the backpack nuke and landing up. That peacemaker thing which we discussed. So the way to do it is buy them out, right? So they're sustaining Taliban and they're sustaining Pakistan. Why are they handling Pakistan the way they're doing? They're handling Pakistan basically to counter China. Otherwise, China will take over Pakistan tomorrow. And like I said in one of my earlier things, that Pakistan is virtually today. Let's put it. It's a Chinese army. It's a surrogate Chinese army. 60% of Chinese arms of Pakistan are Chinese. So they will, have this game. Why Bangladesh? I think that has to do with the second half of Biden's administration. We know the problems. I expect it to change. Because so far, what indications are coming out of Mr. Trump are that he might not pander to Bangladesh. Bangladesh will be left in a lurch. Of course, the danger is, like we've discussed, Bangladesh might jump into the Chinese bed along with Pakistan. That we'll tackle separately. They're left. But then this is the global perception of USA, and that they've been doing that. So what do? We have no choice really. We have to play the game. There's a game which you have to play from different directions.
Thank you, sir. Now let's take a few questions.
Yeah, please.
First question is from Magnet Ranga. International relations are so dynamic. Friends soon turn foes like Pakistan, Afghanistan. Neighbors forget past help, namely Bangladesh, Maldives, etc. Should long-term policies be forgotten? What should nations do?
Nations should look at their interest. They say there are no permanent friends, only permanent interests. So India earlier had this fuzzy notion of going friendship and this and that. I think in the past 20, 25 years, we were very clear that we should work to our interests. And we are doing it. So we should look at our interests. These things will change. Leaders change, people change, fortunes change. But we should look at our interests and do what we have to do. As simple as that. Yeah, next question. You are skeptical when someone asks you about Pak army apparently having occupied Wakhan corridor. Assuming this has happened, how can we expect Taliban to react? Did China order this? I don't think Pakistan has gone and ordered occupied Wakhan corridor, because a lot of people have done a satellite scan of that area and they've found it not correct. It was just a rumor. So Shritik, just tease you on that one. Number two, Pakistan army doesn't have the capability to do that, because the moment you go and occupy Wakhan corridor, it's a difficult area, and you go and occupy Wakhan corridor, sustenance is a problem. You need a big logistics scale to keep people there. I don't think Pakistan has the capability to go and sustain itself there. And who tells you this? That see, within Pakistan establishment also, that dissonant voices. There are a set of ambassadors. There's something called the Ambassadors Club, which keep discussing a lot of things. So in one of their discussions, I understood that those chaps, the foreign office, is completely against this business of going into Wakhan corridor. And one thing you must understand, that Pakistan, whatever you say, the Pakistan army is not a foolish army. To get stuck out there is asking for big trouble. I mean, you have to understand when you go to those places. Why do you think China has not gone there? I mean, if it was so easy, China's army should have taken over the Wakhan corridor and be sitting in Kabul. Come to the Salang tunnel and be happy. Because if you get caught there, there's nothing which will stop you from getting sniped every second day and getting killed. It's difficult, out of question. Yeah.
Next one, please. Raja Raman wants to know, does Bharat involve in any of these TTP or BLA struggles?
No, no, I don't think so. We are helping them with, virtually moral. We stand by them. When the Pakistanis bombed the Afghanistan territory, our foreign ministry gave out a statement to say that is not the right thing to do, not the right morals to do. So we'll give them moral help, and we'll help the Afghans to survive. So when you do
Well,
that,
giving them
everything will
their
fall.
roti, right? Giving them wheat for their roti. Yeah.
You saw medicines, roti, all that. We'll do. Yeah. Their trade, their livelihood. When you increase, you reach out to the people. You don't have to do anything more. Yeah.
Next one, please. Cosmic reason. Thank you so much. Sir, giving more visa and helping is all fine, but isn't Islam at its core a threat to our civilization? What if they start following Sunnat against us?
See, you must understand what I told you. At this point of time, Taliban is the best option amongst the worst options available. It's the best of the worst. What do? You leave it everything and come? One. Number two, how many people are you going to deal with? After all, you are dealing with your own Muslims. You have hell of a lot of Muslims, but don't forget that. Okay, you have 120 million Muslims of your own. Where will they go? You know how to deal with them, and you have the capability to deal with them. And let's not be paranoid about every Muslim who comes here. You know how to deal with them. Let's deal with them. Yeah.
Next one, please. Sid wants to know, sir, with Trump coming, will he go after Iran for Israel? Will Pakistan open a front to help USA since they will get dollars? I hear 20 billion from IMF and another 20 from US banks.
Yeah. Just think. You forget about the last part. What will happen to Pakistan if they go after Iran? You have to understand, Pakistan is not a foolish country to go after Iran. Okay, if Iran then will play merry hell. See what you look at the experience of Pakistan with USA. Thrice they've been let down by USA. Okay, all three times, once with India and twice with Afghanistan. The first time they were let down was post 71. Now, if they go into Iran, Iran is not a simple country. Okay, it's a very complicated country to get into. One day Americans will go away. Then what happens to Pakistan? Ab tumhara kya hoga kaliye, wo kahani hai. So let's not blow up these things into. And first, second, USA will not get into Iran. Why should it get into Iran? It has Iran in its corner. What you have to understand what's happened in the West Asia. Iran is suffering from a huge defeat. Okay, and they have Israel to sort out Iran. So why should they go into it on their own? It doesn't make sense. I told you the strategy of indirect approach is very important. Yeah.
Next one, please. Sree Kumar, thank you so much. Please invite Admiral Ramdas Menon regarding Nukkat TK submarine.
Yeah, nuke attack submarine. Nuke attack submarine.
Oh, nuke attack. Okay.
You don't need. Yeah, we don't need Admiral Ramdas. I'll go some naval officer and on gunner shot, and we'll discuss it. It's not a big deal. But there's time, right? There's more time about. But what do you want to know about nuclear attack submarine? A nuclear attack submarine is what? Look. Any of your nuke subs can carry, nuclear attack. When I say nuke sub, it is nuclear propelled submarine. And in its torpedoes shoot or in this thing, it can launch a missile. If it can launch a missile, part of the triad, you can do anything. That we can discuss anytime. You don't need Admiral Ramdas. And I don't know how old he is. He's pretty old. So why him? Okay, we'll get someone. We'll talk some other day.
Manoj Soma wants to know, did we take any steps to stop importing the electronic equipment from China, like USA announced that they would stop importing from Russia and China chip vehicles by 2027? Your view, sir?
Yeah. We've done this long back. All military equipment, which we use, there's no Chinese electronics at all. This is not new. This is going back to about 2010, 12. So we stopped that a long back. But as far as in our other civilian structure goes, we have a lot of Chinese equipment in our communication setup. We need to stop. That's something the government has to do. Military, I am very clear. Military communications, I'm very clear. In our space program, there's nothing Chinese. But there are other places where Chinese equipment is there. We have to eradicate it. The issue is of a political will to do that. Now you need to find alternatives for that. For that alternatives, you need to have semiconductors, you need to have processors and all that. To that extent, I think our government has faltered or been slow, whatever you call it. I think we could have been a little more faster and more focused in getting outcomes. But it's a matter of time. I think we'll get there.
Next one, please. Amitesh Behra wants to know, even though you say Pak army is professional, it looked clueless against Taliban.
That's okay, but it's still a professional army. Pak army doesn't have the capability to fight a hybrid war the way it should be fought. Right? They're more brutish the way they go about it. So it's more than clueless. They're quite clued up. They don't have capacities. They don't have money. To sustain a counterinsurgency campaign, you need deep pockets. India had that. If people forget, India had the capability and the pockets to sustain it. Because a major part of the hybrid campaign is not military, it is political. And that is something which they don't have. Pakistani army suffers from that. Yeah. Next.
Next one, please. Anirban Kanungoa wants to know, sir, do you think robot dogs which are being developed to be armed with rifles and bombs, can they pose a challenge to the army in Indo-China border? Or are DRDO and IITs coming with any counter?
Yeah, these are all fancy things. They're all nice photo ops. End of story. Our chaps also during army parade showed some of these dogs loafing around. Yeah, dogs are dogs. They'll only be in one corner at the end of the day.
Did you know that story about Russia trying to train their dogs to go and place bombs underneath German tanks?
That is long back. Yeah.
Second World War.
Second World War. I agree with you.
Would you like to relate it to our viewers? It's a fascinating story about training dogs to do a bad job or a big job.
No, you can. See, dogs are very good. You can make them, after all, if you can make them sniff for explosives and all, and if you go to airports and all, you see dogs loafing around. They're all sniffer dogs. They're trained to sniff for explosives. So you can train a dog for almost everything. But these robot dogs, well, probably you have to program them. But working along the India-China border and all is all, it's a lot of PR. That's about all. Many of these won't work there. Yeah.
Next one, please. Akash Krishan Tadani wants to know, from a historical perspective, originally Afghanistan was Buddhism in their demeanor. The problem started with the battles between the Mongols and Turks. First, the Mongols were converted to Islam, followed by the resides of this territory. Herein, new converts lie their desire to prove themselves more Islamic than the Arabs Turks. Your views?
Oh, well, I don't think they were completely Buddhist in nature, because if you see, Afghanistan had the influence of Islam. Even before that, you go back to the days of Alexander and his conquest. The Greeks came. It's a potpourri of cultures. Turks came through this place. People came from the Central Asian republics also. And so, you see, in some kind of a way, Afghanistan is the heartland of this area. You find a lot of cultures. So I don't know whether Buddhism entered first or Islam entered first. It's something for an anthropologist to say. But yes, Buddhism had its impact. And after all those Bamiyan Buddha statues with Taliban in 1.0 they broke, is testimony to the fact that Buddhism extended till there. And of course, there is mention of this area, Gandhari, in Mahabharata also. Gandhar region is that Afghanistan only. So even Hinduism probably existed there. So it's a potpourri of religions. Yeah.
Maithili wants to know, General Shankarji, Namaskaram, has India helped Afghanistan to grow wheat and get out of poppy?
No, it's not India. It is their own. We have not done anything. It's their own because they couldn't handle the drug addiction. They couldn't handle the poverty, so they did it on their own. They have a major problem because they eradicated poppy because people have gone poor and people have gone hungry, and that we've helped them with wheat, not to grow wheat, but we have actually given them wheat. Yeah.
Next one, please. Bhaskar Verma wants to know, Jai Hind, will Taliban with guerrilla tactics be able to remove parts of lumber one army, or it needs to become a conventional army and air force?
Taliban will never be a conventional army. They've never been. After all, that's the evidence of the past 25 years. They'll always be a guerrilla army. They'll always be a hybrid army, unconventional. Right? So they will fight that way. And after all, with that kind of a thing, they're now ruling a country. Why should they become conventional?
Next one, please. Why do we not, Amitesh Behera wants to know, why do we not open government in exile of Balochistan?
You must ask this question to Prime Minister Modi, because I am not qualified to answer it. It is beyond my pay grade.
Next one, please. Dheeraj Sudan wants to know, what is the status of Project Vishnu hypersonic cruise missile?
I've given the full details of this in my podcast on hypersonic shock to China. Have a look at it. It's a 1-hour podcast on what all is happening. Have a look at that. Yeah.
Thank you so much, General Ravi Shankar. That brings us to a close today's program. And please, viewers, like, share, and subscribe to our channel wherever you are watching it, be it Ganashot or P Gurus. Please do subscribe to our channel and don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar, sir.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir.